"You're not really one of us anymore, are you?" Those words came from Sarah, my best friend since college. Or at least I thought she was my best friend. We were standing in the parking lot of our favorite brunch spot, the place where we'd celebrated every promotion, every birthday, every small victory for the past 4 years. But this time I wasn't there to celebrate. I was there to tell them I'd lost my job. I'm 25 years old, and 3 weeks ago, I walked out of the marketing firm where I'd poured my soul for 3 years. Not by choice. Budget cuts, they said. Last in, first out. I remember clutching that cardboard box with my desk plant and my stupid motivational mug, feeling like my entire identity had been ripped away. But I thought my friends would understand. I thought they'd rally around me like we always did for each other. I was so wrong. What do you mean? I asked Sarah, my voice shaking. She exchanged glances with Emma and Rachel, who stood behind her like a unified front. Well, you can't really afford to do the things we do anymore, right? The trips, the dinners, the spa days. It's just awkward. Emma nodded. We don't want you to feel left out. So you're leaving me out instead? I could barely breathe. Rachel crossed her arms. Don't be dramatic. We're just being realistic. Maybe take some time to figure out your life, and when you're back on your feet, we can hang out again. They were breaking up with me because I lost my job. I stood there, frozen, as they walked back to their cars, the cars I'd helped them pick out, the cars we'd road-tripped in, the cars that were now driving away from me. Sarah didn't even look back, and that's when I made myself a promise. They would see me again, but next time they'd be the ones looking up. The first week after that parking lot humiliation, I didn't leave my apartment. I sat on my couch in the same sweatpants for 5 days straight, scrolling through Instagram, watching my former friends post pictures from wine tastings and beach weekends. Pictures I would have been in, events I would have planned. Rachel posted a selfie with the caption, "Surrounded by my real day ones." I threw my phone across the room. My mom called every day. "Sweetheart, you need to get out of the house. This isn't healthy." "Mom, I'm fine," I lied. "You're not fine. You haven't showered in—" I said I'm fine. But I wasn't fine. I was 25 years old, unemployed, abandoned by everyone I thought cared about me, and completely lost. I had exactly $2,000 in my savings account and rent due in 3 weeks. That night I couldn't sleep. I kept replaying Sarah's words, "You're not really one of us anymore." At 3 in the morning, I opened my laptop. I didn't have a plan. I didn't have connections. I didn't even have a clear idea of what I wanted to do. But I had rage. Pure burning rage. I started researching every free online course I could find. Marketing certifications, social media strategy, brand development, personal branding. Personal branding. That phrase stuck in my head like a hook. If they could brand me as a failure, as someone not worth their time, then I could rebrand myself as something else entirely. I worked 16-hour days for 2 weeks straight. No breaks, no distractions. I deleted Instagram. I stopped checking their posts. I stopped caring about their opinions. My neighbor, Mrs. Chen, an elderly woman who'd always been kind to me, knocked on my door one evening. "You okay in there, honey? I hear you typing at all hours." "I'm building something," I told her. She smiled. "Good. Show them what you're made of." I didn't know it then, but Mrs. Chen would become the only person who believed in me, the only person who saw what was coming. Because 3 months later, I landed my first client, a small business owner who needed help with her social media. Then another. Then 5 more. And then everything changed. Month 4 of my exile, and I was running my own freelance marketing agency from my tiny apartment. It wasn't glamorous. I was still eating ramen 3 times a day and sleeping 4 hours a night. But I had 12 clients and the money was finally coming in. Real money. More than I'd made at that corporate job that threw me away like garbage. I was at a coffee shop editing a campaign for a local boutique when I heard her voice. "Oh my God, is that you?" I looked up. Emma. Standing there with her designer handbag and her judgmental smirk, holding a latte that cost more than my lunch budget for a week. "Hey, Emma," I said flatly, turning back to my laptop. "Wow, you look different." She pulled out the chair across from me without asking. So, what are you doing these days? Still looking for work? The condescension in her voice made my blood boil. I'm working, I said. Oh, where'd you end up? I run my own business, she laughed. Actually laughed. A business? Doing what exactly? Marketing, brand strategy, social media management. I met her eyes. I have 12 clients and I'm booked solid for the next 3 months. Her smile faltered for just a second. That's cute, like a little side hustle thing. It's not a side hustle. It's my career. Right. She sipped her latte. Well, good for you. I'm sure it's nice to have something to keep you busy. She leaned in, lowering her voice like she was sharing a secret. Sarah and Rachel felt really bad about what happened, you know. We all did. But you have to understand, we were just trying to protect you from feeling embarrassed. Protect me. They abandoned me when I needed them most. You weren't protecting me, Emma. You were protecting yourselves from being seen with someone you considered beneath you. Her face flushed red. That's not fair. You know what's not fair? Being told you're not good enough anymore because you lost a job. Being erased from a friend group like you never mattered. She stood up abruptly. You're being really dramatic. This is exactly why we needed space from you. She walked out, leaving me shaking with anger. But that anger? It became fuel. 2 weeks later, I signed the biggest client of my life. A tech startup willing to pay me more in 1 month than I'd made in 6 months at my old job. And I knew exactly what I was going to do with that money. The tech startup was called Lumina, and they were launching a revolutionary app for women entrepreneurs. They needed someone who understood branding, social media virality, and most importantly, someone who understood what it felt like to start from nothing. You're young, but your portfolio is impressive, the CEO, Diana, told me during our video call. Why should we choose you over the bigger agencies? I didn't hesitate. Because I don't just understand marketing. I understand transformation. I know what it's like to be counted out, dismissed, and underestimated. And I know how to turn that into power. She hired me on the spot. The contract was for 6 months. $50,000. More money than I'd ever seen in my life. I wanted to scream. I wanted to call my mom. I wanted to post it everywhere and shove it in Sarah's face. But I didn't. Instead, I invested $20,000 of that money into something bold. Something that would make sure everyone saw what I'd become. A billboard. Not just any billboard. The biggest one in downtown, right on the highway where hundreds of thousands of people drove every single day. The same highway my former friends took to work. I hired a photographer, got my hair and makeup done professionally for the first time in my life, wore a power suit that made me feel like I could conquer the world. The billboard company called me. Miss Parker, we just want to confirm this is a personal branding campaign? Not for a company? That's correct, I said. And you want your face on it? Your name, your website? Yes, 50 feet tall. I want people to see me from miles away. There was a pause. Bold choice. I like it. The billboard went up on a Tuesday morning at 6 a.m. My face. My name. My tagline. From rock bottom to the top, let me build your brand. I drove past it that afternoon and pulled over on the side of the highway. I sat there staring up at myself and I cried. Not sad tears. Victory tears. Mrs. Chen called me that evening. I saw it. I saw your billboard! Oh, honey, I'm so proud of you. Thank you, Mrs. Chen. Thank you for believing in me. Are you ready for what comes next? She asked. I didn't understand what she meant. But 2 days later, my phone exploded. Messages, emails, comments on my website, and 3 texts that made my hands shake. Sarah, we need to talk. Emma, can we meet? Rachel, I saw your billboard. I stared at those 3 text messages for 20 minutes straight. Part of me wanted to block them immediately. Part of me wanted to respond with something cruel, something that would hurt them the way they hurt me. But mostly I just felt nothing. They didn't matter anymore. I deleted the text without responding, but they wouldn't let it go. The next morning, I woke up to 17 missed calls, all from Sarah, then a voicemail. Hey, it's me. Listen, I know things ended badly between us, but I saw your billboard and, wow, I had no idea you were doing so well. We should really catch up. I think there's been a huge misunderstanding. Call me back, okay? Miss you. Miss you? 6 months of silence and now she missed me? I was at a networking event that evening, something I'd been invited to because of the Billboard, when I saw them. All three of them, Sarah, Emma, and Rachel, standing near the bar, dressed like they were at a fashion show. They'd crashed my event. Sarah spotted me first. Her face lit up with that fake smile I used to think was genuine. They walked over like nothing had ever happened. There she is! Our famous friend! Sarah threw her arms around me. I stood stiff, not hugging back. What are you doing here? We wanted to support you, Emma said sweetly. When we saw your billboard, we realized we made a terrible mistake. Rachel nodded eagerly. We were going through our own stuff back then. We weren't thinking clearly, but we're here now. 6 months later, I said coldly. You're here now that I'm successful. Sarah laughed nervously. Don't be like that. We've always been proud of you. Always? I raised my voice and people around us started to notice. You told me I wasn't one of you anymore. You said I was embarrassing. You abandoned me when I had nothing. We were trying to give you space to figure things out, Emma insisted. No, you were ashamed to be associated with someone who wasn't successful. And now that I am, you want back in. An older woman approached us. Diana, my client, the CEO who'd given me my first big break. Is everything all right here? She asked, looking at my former friends with suspicion. Everything's fine, I said. These are just some people I used to know. Sarah's face went pale. Used to know? Yes, used to. I turned to Diana. Shall we go meet the investors? As I walked away, I heard Rachel whisper loudly, She's being such a... But I didn't care what she said. For the first time in 6 months, I felt free. But that freedom was about to be tested in ways I never expected. The next week, my business exploded. The billboard had done exactly what I'd hoped. It made me visible, memorable, undeniable. I was getting inquiry calls every single day. Big companies, established brands, people who actually valued what I could do. But with success came something I hadn't anticipated. Sabotage. I was in a meeting with a potential client, a luxury skincare brand, when the owner, Margaret, pulled out her phone. Before we sign anything, I need to address something, she said carefully. I received an email yesterday from someone claiming to know you personally. My stomach dropped. What did it say? That you're unprofessional. That you abandoned your friends when you got successful. That you're difficult to work with and unreliable. She looked me in the eyes. They said you stole clients from your previous employer. I felt my entire world tilting. That's a lie, I said, my voice shaking. I was laid off. I built my business from nothing. I never stole anything. I believe you, Margaret said. But I need you to understand. Reputation is everything in this industry. If someone's actively trying to destroy yours, that's a problem for both of us. I left that meeting in a daze. My hands were trembling as I unlocked my phone. I knew exactly who had sent that email. I called Sarah. She answered on the first ring, her voice dripping with fake innocence. Oh, hi. I was just thinking about you. What did you do? I demanded. I don't know what you're talking about. You sent emails to my clients. You're trying to sabotage my business. There was a long pause. Then she laughed. You really think you can just humiliate us and get away with it? You embarrassed me in front of everyone at that networking event. I told the truth. You made us look like terrible people. So yes, I reached out to a few companies, just sharing my experience with you. It's called honesty. It's called slander. And it's illegal. Prove it, she said coldly and hung up. I sat in my car, feeling that familiar helplessness creeping back in. Everything I'd built was being threatened by someone who couldn't stand to see me succeed. That's when my phone rang. Unknown number. Hello? Is this the Billboard girl? A man's voice. Deep professional. Yes, this is she. My name is Marcus Chen. I'm an attorney. Also, I'm Mrs. Chen's grandson. Mrs. Chen's grandson? My grandmother told me what you've been through. And she told me someone's trying to hurt your business. I'd like to help you. Pro bono. I almost cried. Why would you do that? Because my grandmother believes in you. And because people like your former friends need to learn that actions have consequences. What I didn't know was that Marcus had already started digging, and what he found would change everything. Marcus Chen met me at a small cafe 2 days later. He was in his early 30s, sharp-dressed, with the kind of calm confidence that made me feel like maybe, just maybe, I wasn't alone in this fight. He slid a folder across the table. I did some preliminary research on your friends, he said. And I found something interesting. I opened the folder. Inside were printed emails, screenshots, and what looked like legal documents. Sarah Morrison works at Brighton & Associates, correct? Marcus asked. Yes, she's in HR. Well, she used her company email to send those defamatory messages about you to your clients. That's a violation of her employment contract and opens her employer up to liability. My eyes widened. Are you serious? Completely. But it gets better. He pointed to another document. Emma Chen, no relation to me, thankfully. She's been running her own side business while employed full-time at a company that explicitly forbids that in their contract. She's been hiding income and potentially committing tax fraud. I couldn't believe what I was hearing. And Rachel? I asked. Marcus's expression darkened. Rachel's the most interesting one. She's been lying on her resume. That management position she's so proud of? She never actually graduated from the university, she claims. She faked her diploma. I sat back, completely stunned. How did you find all this? I'm very good at my job, he said simply. The question is, what do you want to do with this information? I thought about it. 6 months ago, these women made me feel worthless. They threw me away like I was nothing. And now they were actively trying to destroy what I'd built. I want them to stop, I said firmly. I want them to leave me alone and face consequences for what they've done. Marcus nodded. Then here's what we're going to do. He laid out a plan. We would send a cease and desist letter to Sarah, threatening legal action and informing her employer of her misconduct. We would anonymously report Emma's contract violations. And we would give Rachel a choice, stop the harassment or have her fraudulent credentials exposed. This feels like a lot, I said, my conscience pulling at me. They tried to destroy your livelihood, Marcus reminded me. You're not attacking them. You're defending yourself. He was right. We sent the letters that afternoon. Certified mail. No room for denial. I went home feeling a strange mix of power and anxiety. What would happen next? I didn't have to wait long. At 9 p.m., my phone started ringing. Sarah, Emma, Rachel, all calling simultaneously, all panicking. I let every single call go to voicemail. Then Sarah sent a text. We need to meet, tomorrow. Please, this is serious. I replied with one word, no. The next morning, they showed up at my apartment building. I was making coffee when the buzzer rang. Then again, and again. I checked the camera. All 3 of them stood at my door looking frantic. Sarah was crying, mascara streaking down her face. Emma looked furious. Rachel just looked terrified. I pressed the intercom. Go away. Please, we need to talk. Sarah's voice was desperate. You can't do this to us. I'm not doing anything to you. You did this to yourselves. Open the door, Emma shouted. We know you're home. I grabbed my phone and called Marcus. They're at my apartment. Don't let them in. I'm sending someone to document this. They're harassing you. Within 15 minutes, a process server arrived. The girls' faces went white when they saw him approach with official documents. Sarah Morrison? He asked. That's me. He handed her an envelope. You've been served with a cease and desist order and a notice that your employer has been informed of your misuse of company resources. Sarah's legs nearly gave out. No. Emma Chen? He handed her papers too. Notice of contract violation report filed with your employer. Emma's hands shook so badly she dropped the envelope. Rachel Torres? You're being formally notified that your educational credentials are under investigation. Rachel grabbed the papers, her face completely drained of color. Who told you? I opened my door and stepped out. They all turned to look at me like I was a stranger. Maybe I was. I wasn't the girl they'd discarded 6 months ago. I wasn't weak anymore. You tried to ruin me, I said quietly. You sent emails to my clients. You spread lies about me. You wanted me to fail. We were your friends, Sarah screamed. How could you destroy us like this? Friends? I laughed bitterly. Friends don't abandon you when you're struggling. Friends don't tell you you're not good enough anymore. You destroyed our friendship the day you walked away from me in that parking lot. We made a mistake, Rachel pleaded. We're sorry. We'll fix this. We'll tell everyone the truth. It's too late for apologies. Emma stepped forward, her voice cold. You think you're so perfect now? With your billboard and your lawyer boyfriend? You're exactly what we always knew you were. Vindictive and pathetic. Marcus appeared behind me. Actually, I'm her attorney, not her boyfriend. And if you continue this harassment, I'll add stalking charges to the civil suit we're preparing. The three of them stood frozen. This isn't over, Emma hissed. Actually, it is, Marcus said. Unless you want your employers to know everything. Unless you want this to become public record. I suggest you leave, now. They left, but not before Sarah turned back one last time. You've changed, she said, tears streaming. You're not the person we knew. You're right, I said. I'm better. As they disappeared, I thought it was finally over. But the next day, I received an email that made my blood run cold. It was from my old employer. The company that had fired me. They wanted to meet. The email was formal, cold, and vague. Dear Ms. Parker, we would like to schedule a meeting with you regarding a matter of mutual interest. Please contact us at your earliest convenience. It was signed by Jennifer Hartwell, the HR director who'd handed me that cardboard, boxed 6 months ago and told me my services were no longer needed. I forwarded it to Marcus immediately. He called within minutes. Don't respond yet. Let me find out what this is about. 2 hours later, he called back. His tone had completely changed. You need to sit down for this, he said. What's going on? Your old company is in trouble. Big trouble. After you left, they hired someone to replace you. Sarah's cousin, actually. She's been embezzling money through fake vendor accounts. They just discovered it. Over $200,000. My jaw dropped. Sarah's cousin? Gets better. Sarah recommended her. Put in a personal reference. Vouched for her character, he paused. They want to meet with you because they think you might have information about Sarah's involvement. I couldn't believe what I was hearing. They fired me, and now they want my help? Apparently, they also realized you were the one who built most of their successful campaigns. Since you left, their social media engagement has dropped 70%. They're hemorrhaging clients. The irony was almost too much. I agreed to the meeting. Not because I wanted to help them, but because I wanted to see Jennifer Hartwell's face when she asked me for a favor. The meeting was set for Friday afternoon. Marcus came with me. We walked into that same conference room where I'd been terminated. Jennifer sat at the head of the table with 2 other executives I recognized. They all looked uncomfortable. Thank you for coming, Jennifer said stiffly. What do you want? I asked, not bothering with pleasantries. We want to discuss Sarah Morrison's involvement in recommending Melissa Torres for the position you vacated. We believe there may have been a coordinated effort. You think Sarah helped her cousin steal from you? I interrupted. Jennifer's face tightened. We're exploring that possibility. And you want me to provide information about Sarah's character? If you have any relevant— I do, actually. I pulled out my phone and opened the screenshots Marcus had compiled. Sarah used her work email at Brighton & Associates to defame me to my clients. She's vindictive, manipulative, and clearly has no ethical boundaries. I slid my phone across the table. They all leaned in to read. We had no idea, one executive muttered. Of course you didn't, I said. Just like you had no idea that I was the reason your campaigns actually worked. You saw budget cuts as an opportunity to get rid of the youngest person on the team, and now you're paying for it. Jennifer shifted uncomfortably. We've realized that letting you go was premature. Premature? I laughed. It was the best thing that ever happened to me. We'd like to offer you your position back, with a significant raise and— No. The room went silent. No, Jennifer repeated. I don't work for people who don't value me. But I will do consulting work. My rate is $5,000 a day. Take it or leave it. Their faces went pale, but after a whispered conversation, Jennifer nodded. We'll take it. As Marcus and I walked out, he smiled. You just made them pay 20 times what they used to pay you. They should have thought of that before they threw me away. But the story wasn't over yet. Because that evening, I got a call from Mrs. Chen. Sweetheart, turn on the news. Channel 7. Right now. What I saw made everything else pale in comparison. I grabbed the remote and switched to Channel 7. The news anchor's voice filled my apartment. Breaking news tonight. A major embezzlement scandal rocks local marketing firm Preston & Associates. 2 employees have been arrested in connection with a scheme that defrauded the company of over $200,000. The screen cut to footage of police leading 2 women out of an office building in handcuffs, Sarah and her cousin Melissa. My hand flew to my mouth. Sarah Morrison, an HR representative at Brighton & Associates, allegedly conspired with her cousin to create fake vendor accounts and funnel money. I couldn't breathe. I knew Sarah was involved, but I never imagined it would end like this. My phone exploded. News outlets. Former colleagues. People I hadn't heard from in months. Everyone wanted a statement from the employee who was wrongfully terminated and replaced by the criminals. Marcus called. Don't talk to anyone yet. This is about to get very interesting for you. He was right. Within 48 hours, Preston & Associates released a public statement apologizing to me specifically. They admitted that my termination was unjust and that I had been an exemplary employee whose departure directly contributed to oversights that allowed fraudulent activity to occur. The local news picked up my story. From fired to famous, how one young woman turned devastation into a thriving business. They showed my billboard, interviewed my clients. Diana from Lumina called me a visionary. And then something happened that I never expected. Mrs. Chen called me crying. What's wrong? I asked, panicked. Nothing's wrong, sweetheart. Turn on your computer. Check your email. I opened my laptop. My inbox had over 300 new messages. Business inquiries. Interview requests. Speaking opportunities. But one email stood in the center of it all. Subject line. Investment opportunity. I opened it. It was from a venture capital firm. They wanted to invest $2 million in scaling my business into a full marketing agency. They'd seen my billboard, followed my story, and believed I had the resilience and vision to build something extraordinary. I read that email 5 times before it felt real. $2 million. A real agency, a team. Everything I'd dreamed about but thought was years away. Marcus came over that evening with champagne. Mrs. Chen brought homemade dumplings. We sat in my tiny apartment, the same place where I'd cried myself to sleep 6 months ago, and celebrated. I'm so proud of you, Mrs. Chen said, squeezing my hand. You took the worst moment of your life and turned it into your greatest triumph. I couldn't have done it without you. Either of you. 3 months later, I signed the investment deal. I hired a team of 12 people. I moved into a real office with floor-to-ceiling windows overlooking the city. And I put up a second billboard. This one didn't have my face. It had 5 words. They left, I rose. Anyway. I never heard from Sarah, Emma, or Rachel again. Sarah's legal troubles kept her busy. Emma lost her job. Rachel disappeared from social media entirely. I could have felt sorry for them, but I didn't. Because the truth is this: some people will only want you when you're useful to them. And when you're down, they'll walk away without looking back. But the ones who stay, the Mrs. Chens and the Marcuses of the world, they're the ones who matter. I'm 26 now. I run a multi-million-dollar agency. I speak at conferences. I mentor young women who've been counted out and cast aside. And every single day, I drive past that billboard and remember the girl who lost everything and decided to build something better. They thought losing my job would destroy me. Instead, it freed me to become who I was always meant to be. And honestly, I wouldn't change a single thing.